How do Mime Artists? Welcome to another set of 10, starting off here with Behaim, going in Mega Start and a +5 moves. We've got Shiny Tyranitar that can now be raised max leveled up to I think it's level 15. Mine's is still only about level 7 or 8, so a wee way left to go with that one. I also brought along Darkrai. I didn't think that the Sleep Charm worked on Psychic types. I brought it along nonetheless, but it did go off at least once or twice. I'm not sure if it was in this run or another one, but I did definitely see it go off, which is interesting. Along with that, Hoopa Unbound, wonderful, good Pokemon that can be leveled up a wee bit more as well. It's got new raise max levels that will be done. I'll do those throughout the coming weeks. No urgent rush for them. And there's also Genesect. It's strong, it's got crowd control, which is pretty good. It's a fairly simple stage, it's a fairly easy stage, there's nothing too concerning. If you get the Sleep Charm off, which I did for some reason, even though it's Psychic type, I might be thinking of Ghost types that it doesn't work with. There will be some ice blocks on the stage that it will disrupt you with, which is fine, they're not too concerning. You've got the Shiny Tyranitar there just to be able to get rid of as many as possible when you need it, which is good. To S rank this, maybe a disruption delay as well. Once your Pokemon are fully leveled, it shouldn't be much of an issue at all. Once you've got the Hoopa up to its max level, once you've got Shiny Tyranitar, I think that goes up to level 20. This could possibly be just a +5 move stage, maybe a Mega Start as well, once it all fully leveled. 2 skill boosts as well. I don't think I've ever used Behaim once in my life, but skill boosts are skill boosts. Next up here is Rufflet going in with Mega Tyranitar. There's also Alolan Ninetales with the Freeze Plus ability. Tapu Koko with Eject ++, very useful on this stage. There will be some Rufflets, there will be some Braviaries dotted about. The main thing I tried to do was to get rid of as many as possible, trying to get the Mega Tyranitar working as quickly as possible. And after that, making sure there weren't that many Rufflets or Braviaries on the stage, and then comboing as much as possible. Again, not a terribly difficult stage. I wouldn't necessarily recommend anything like a Mega Start, they're not really necessary. My Tyranitar is fully candied and it was able to start up quickly enough. And even when it's not Mega started, it's still got the Eject ability, which is fairly useful-ish. Not as useful as the Tapu Kokos, but it's fine nonetheless. Silvally is up to level 20, I know it now goes up to level 30 I believe it is. Not gotten there yet, but that'll be another thing that will be done in the coming weeks. And there we go, just able to beat it with 0 moves left. And a couple, again, more skill boosts. I don't use Rufflet, I don't think I've ever used Rufflet, but skill boosts, it's fine. Next up here we have Excadrill. With Mega Aggron, Silvally, Ash Greninja, and Shaman. Just because there are a lot of disruptions on the stage, I thought to bring along the Mega Aggron. It's not super effective, but unlike Tyranitar, it's not effective, so it's probably the best Mega I could think of on this stage. I chose one of the tapping Megas just because of how many disruptions there are. As you can see, there are quite a few already, and that just increases every couple of turns. I thought for the support Pokemon, just go for as much attack power as possible. Shaman can possibly help stopping some of the disruptions, but that's not very reliable. I think mine's is about skill level 4, but even still, it's not entirely reliable. And there we go, 4 moves left. Not the best, not the worst. Could have been better, could have been worse. It's just okay. And then next up we have Braviary. This is a little bit of an odd stage. I went in with a full flying team, plus 5 moves and a mega start. Not super effective, but the Braviary and the Unpheasant are going to be on the stage. They will be in all of the disruptions, so I thought I'd just go with it. Go with the full flying team, use Mega Salamence as the Mega just to be able to get rid of more of the flying types. It's not super effective, but it is probably the best way to get around this stage. You could go with something like a Celesteela, but I don't know if that's reliable enough, and given how many and how often, I don't think a Celesteela and then a super effective run would be that effective. Feel free to give it a shot, let me know how you do with it, but I thought of just going with a full flying team. Shiny Charizard I think is level 10, Braviary is about level 8, Unpheasant's only 6 or 7, and Salamence I think's up to about 12, I think that's one of the raised max level Pokemon. So it's a fairly okay-ish team. A couple of them are powerful. Unpheasant and Braviary aren't too. I think Braviary is about skill level 2. If you've got a higher one, that's even better. Sky Blast is incredibly helpful here. To S-rank this stage, I'm not too sure. Maybe, I think you can use complexity -1, maybe something along those lines. Make it a 3 Pokemon stage. It's a little bit excessive, and it's certainly not a stage that I would want to spend, 10,000 plus coins on just to S-rank. At this stage anyway, maybe later when the Pokemon are a lot higher leveled, perhaps you could use just a +5 move, something along those lines, but at this stage I don't think it's necessarily worth using a complexity -1 on a stage like this. It's a repeat stage that you've possibly already got the Braviary for. And there we go, 2 moves left, which isn't too shabby. And a skill boost as well for Braviary. It's not going to be a good farming stage considering you need to use the +5 moves in the Mega Start to get this far. But still, a skill boost is a skill boost, and it's a good Pokemon to have one on. And next up here, One that we will be using a complexity -1 on is Rayquaza. +5 moves, Mega Start, Disruption Delay, complexity -1, the whole 9 yards. This seemed more like a boss stage than the boss stage itself that we'll get to in due season. So Mega Tyranitar, you know it, you love it, it's good, it's effective, it's wonderful on a stage like this. Silvally, you know it, you love it, it's useful on a stage like this. The Alolan Ninetales was mostly just for power, and if the Disruption Delay finished, it's not entirely necessary. This was mostly the residual from my runs trying to do it without the complexity -1. If you want to take along another Pokemon that just hits quite heavily, feel free to do that. As with the complexity -1, it's going to be almost impossible, or unless something really goes wrong, that you're still battling it while after, let's get these words out, after the Disruption Delay has stopped going off. Feel free to take along something else, perhaps even something like a Mamoswine with Risk Taker. That would be fine in its place. I think that was my 4th support Pokemon, the one that was taken out by the complexity -1. Something along those lines. It's got a little bit of hitting power, but even then you're probably going to be wanting to make matches with the Silvally as often as possible and just trying to combo into a Tyranitar to continue the combo. And in these tapping, I was just trying to not get rid of too many Tyranitar, just trying to make sure that I make more matches with the Tyranitar to then be able to continue the cycle of combos, matches, Tyranitars. It's a whole thing. Doing it without the complexity -1, I got to about a quarter of its health left, maybe just less than that. It could be done without the complexity -1, I just think the Pokemon would need to be a lot higher leveled, as I've mentioned before. The Silvally up to level 30, skill level 5. Be a lot easier to do this stage without the complexity -1 at that point, but that's probably going to take a couple of weeks to maybe a couple of months, just grinding the Ampharos stage to be able to get up to that. And there we go, 17 moves left, that's an easy S rank. So as we can see, it's got about 60, a little bit more than 60,000 health, which is quite a lot, but when you're doing some wonderful 72 times combos, it's a little bit easier. And next up here we have Lickitung, Lickitung, one of the two. Lickitung. So for the first couple, it's kind of a puzzle, kind of not a puzzle. You want to make match with the Lickitung first, then the Ghastly second, just to make sure that you're getting rid of most of them. And then after the third one here, where you also make a match with the Lickitung, you can then just start playing as normal. There will be a couple of residual on the bottom there. I don't think there's a way to get rid of them necessarily. There may well be. I might have just done the puzzle bits a little bit wrong, but it worked out okay. And the team for this, fairly normal fighting team. You've got Mega Lucario, Beware, Buzzwole and Meloetta, the usual suspect on a stage like this. It's good to get the Beware off as quickly as possible just to try to stop the disruptions. Not that they're that much to complain about, it is only some ice blocks. But you also get that little bit of extra damage boost in there as well. And it hasn't got too much HP, so a good couple of knocks with the Buzzwole, with the Beware, with the Meloetta should be able to knock it out quite comfortably. And there we go, 2 moves left. For an S rank, a +5 moves and maybe most of the Pokemon up to max level should be fair enough. Next up here is Cleffa. Cleffa, delightful little Pokemon. It's not too difficult of a stage. I brought along Mega Aggron, Solgaleo and Registeel. Registeel just because it's going to disrupt with a lot of unbreakable blocks. And it has Block Smash plus. Gets rid of 5 blocks, which is good on a stage like this where there are a lot of them. And then after that you should be able to have the Mega Aggron working. Get rid of some more of them, and if necessary you can use a Solgaleo just for a little bit of metal or steel type boosting. For an S rank on this stage, because there are only I think 8 moves, a +5 moves would be fine. If you're not, maybe if you do it 5-6 times you'd be lucky enough to get it without needing a +5 moves. If your luck's good enough with stuff like the Registeel on the early couple of moves, that'd be fine. Beyond that, if you are struggling a wee bit, just go use the +5 moves, it'll be an easy S rank. And there we go, next up here is Burmy, and Burmy is a little bit of a pain. It has a lot of disruptions, it has a lot of itself on this stage, and there is no way to get rid of all of them that I could work out. I tried quite a few different ways, I tried combining different things, so in the end I just ended up bringing Celesteela, just because there will be a lot of Burmy, even some Cyndaquils on the stage, so there's Mega Tyranitar before that Mega evolves, that's got ejected, shot out in the Noivern as well, just to be able to get rid of some of these because there are a lot of support Pokemon on the stage, which is very inconvenient, and it will be every couple of turns. It's hard, I don't think there's one specific way to get rid of all of them at once. I don't think it's a puzzle type thing, I think it's just a little bit of an uncomfortable disruption. That's why the Celesteela is there, even though it's not super effective, it's a very good support Pokemon to have just when it's needed. Mine's is about level 11, so it's fairly highly leveled already, so it's doing fair enough damage. And sometimes the Celesteela just doesn't work. That's understandable. Slightly anticlimactic, but it's just what happens. And when you make a match with some of the white Burmy, sometimes they will just throw up all of these breakable blocks onto the stage, which is odd and uncomfortable, but thankfully Celesteela is sometimes there, it's got your back. There we go, one move left. For the next rank on this one, I think it would be a matter of luck. +5 moves, perhaps a mega start. There's a lot that could be done, as it is just a very Crowley type stage. Wasn't able to catch it, not throwing a great ball for 14% either. Penultimately here we have Barboach going in, Shiny Gyarados, Ash Greninja, Shaman and Winking Manaphy. Winking Manaphy, as this stage has quite a few breakable blocks on it, didn't turn out to be incredibly necessary, it's still just a good one to have in case. Luckily the Shaman did go off, which meant that there weren't more blocks just poured onto this stage. Mega Gyarados. You can swap that out if you like, if there's another Mega that you'd prefer. It's just relatively okay, it's super effective, it's a fine one to have on this stage. There's not that much HP. A couple of good bashes with the Ash Greninja will be able to take it out. And lastly here we have Torterra, the boss of these 10 stages. Going in with Mega Houndoom, Silvally, Ho-Oh and Genesect. Mega Houndoom here is by far the best Mega that could be brought. There will be so many ice blocks on the stage. There will be breakable blocks in ice blocks. There will be towers of ice blocks. It's going to throw everything at you. This took a wee while to try to get working, exactly which team I wanted to bring along. I tried Reshiram for a while, but it was a little bit redundant with the Mega Houndoom on the team. At the start, it can be fairly helpful for getting rid of those couple when it's just 4 being thrown onto the stage, but I think the Silvally is a much better option just for damage output, and this has a lot of health. It's fairly hard to get rid of just with how many disruptions there are on the stage. It's always good to have quite a few of the Mega Houndoom just dotted about, as there will be a lot of ice blocks on the stage towards the middle and the end of it. But while there aren't that many, I just try to make matches with the Ho-Oh, with the Silvally, with the Genesect, all very heavy damage outputters. Ho-Oh I think's about level 15, I think that's up to its max level. The Genesect's about 13 or so, I think it's still got a ways left, that can go up to 30 I believe. And Houndoom, that's just level 9. If you want to level up Houndoom, it can be up to about level 15 just now. If you want to wait a wee while, wait until some of your Pokemon are higher levels. As all of these together would make up a really powerful team if they're all up to their max level. I unfortunately don't have that as of yet, but hopefully in the coming weeks the Silvally, maybe the Genesect, they'll be a lot more powerful soon. And here is the Tower of Ice. This happens at the last part of the stage. Every couple of turns there will be a block of ice like this that does take 2 Houndoom matches to get rid of, as there's just so much ice on the stage. There we go, 3 moves left. I personally prefer this. You could go in with the complexity -1 with a disruption delay, but this, it's simple, it's easy, the team is fine, the team isn't too tricky at all. If you're going to go complexity -1, You could always just go with a full fire team with Blaziken as your Mega. Didn't throw a great ball, but I'll see what I can do in the coming weeks to be able to catch Torterra with a more powerful team. Thank you very much for watching, and how do, Mime Artists?
Eggs! Eggs! E-double-G-S eggs!